Hey y'all, it's Melinda again talking about the NOK box. Today we're going to talk about who is your NOK, your next of kin. Now, if you are like me and you have more than one child, you have multiple next of kin to choose from, but one of those people should be, or somebody is going to be the executor of your will. So let's just start with that first. A NOK box should not take the place of a legal and binding will drawn up by a lawyer. You should go and get a will done. They're not expensive to do. You can get a very standardized will and have that drawn up by a lawyer so that everything is written down, and you take away a lot of the angst that your next of kin could face if you don't do that. And this is, I'm 57 years old. It's a good time for me. I could live 30 more years, you know, and so it may be really early for me to be doing this. But even if you're 27 years old, it's not too early to have a next of kin designated, especially if you have little children. So you people that have children at home, you should have a will. You should have some things written down on paper that talk about what you want to happen with your estate, with your children, with your valuables. So go get your will drawn up, as well as get a NOK box. You need a will, you need a NOK box. It all needs to work together. The NOK box just helps with the will, and it helps to get all of the parts outside the will together for you. So that person, your executor or your trustee, needs to know that they are that. You need to talk with them and get them to say, yes, I accept the job of being executor of your will. There's a lot of responsibility with that. The person needs to understand what their responsibilities are before they agree to that. If you have more than one child and one of your children is going to be the executor of your will, I believe that you should talk to all of your children and tell them that this child is the executor of the will and lay out your expectations for what you want to happen. All right, now, I'm going to only talk about two things that come in the NOK box today, and I want to be careful not to show you the pages exactly as they are in the box, because every time we talk about this, I want to encourage you, don't try to make up your own. Go to thenokbox.com, go get your own NOK box and do this. Pay these women for the work that they've done, and then use their product. Don't try to make a knockoff NOK box. I think that'll be my joke in every video. So the first thing that you have in here is a list of directions for the owner of the box, and it just has a list of everything that is common sense, like how do you open your phone? What's your code to get in your phone? What's your Apple ID? What's your social security number? What is the code to any safe that's in your house? What's your email address? What's the password to your email? What is your phone number? Most of us don't even remember our own phone numbers anymore. What's your full name? There's a big list on here that you just write out, and then it has key people on the back of that same page. It asks you to just write down who is your attorney, who is your CPA, where do you want to be buried, and not where do you want to be buried, but with what funeral home do you want to work? Do you have any plans there? It just has really, really basic stuff. It took me about 20 minutes to do. I did one, my husband did one as well, and we have put that in the front of our NOK box. Now, that is absolutely useless. This whole process is useless unless you tell the people that are going to be your next of kin and act as your executor or your trustee that you've chosen them. So the next piece of paper in here is a letter, and they will, the thenokbox.com people, the ladies, will send you to your Google Drive, they'll send you a digital copy of this letter. And the letter simply says, you are the executor of my will. There is a NOK box, and here's where it's located, and here is what you should do to get started. And then at the bottom, it has a little place for you to put a letter or some words at the bottom, just so that you lay out your expectations in writing. Now, I chose to do it this way. You do whatever you want to, but I chose to start a Google Drive that my kids can see and my husband can see. So the four of us are in that Google Drive together, and I did not put all my personal information in that Google Drive. I did not fill out the form and upload it to that drive. I filled it out on paper, but what I did do is put a blank copy of that form in there and said, this is what you should look for, and this is the piece of paper that will get you started. And this is located at this place. And so they're both in that drive and they can access it. And then I did a letter, a knockbox letter to both of my kids. One is the executor and one is not. And so I just sent both of them a separate letter. And to the executor, I said, words, and to the one that is not, I said, now you get in there and support and help and participate in this. And I think that that's important to set out for your kids so that it doesn't become a thing. A lot of this whole process is for you to write it out, take all the question marks out, and make it easy for whoever is left when you're gone. Okay, those two pieces of paper took about an hour. I would split it up. I did one day and then one another day. It does take a little bit of time to get yourself organized, but that's your first two tasks. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're having fun.